Welcome back to the Weekly Education Pulse. I'm Sammy.
And I'm Tony. Each week we break down the key developments shaping the international and independent school sector.
This week we're following on directly from our last episode, where we explored different types of capital shaping private education, from religious and charitable foundations through to private equity, sovereign wealth, family capital, and global investors.
So this week, 5 more schools have joined 5 different groups. And rather than just covering each announcement individually, we thought it was worth using them as a window into how these groups are actually growing and what they look like today.
So alongside each story, we'll give you a brief picture of where each group currently stands, how many schools, students, and where that fits in the broader landscape.
So different ownership models, different growth strategies, different motivations.
But all pointing to the same broader question: how is the international and independent school sector organising itself for the future?
We begin this week in Yorkshire, where Terrington Hall Prep School has marked the next stage of its transition into the Sedbergh School Group, ahead of formally joining in summer 2026. This follows the announcements earlier this year that the school had marked the occasion with a community celebration, which suggests the partnership has been received positively by staff, parents, and students.
What strikes us about this story is how it's being framed. Terrington Hall has been clear that it remains Terrington Hall. Its ethos, traditions, and commitment to nurturing childhood are described as unchanged. The language throughout is about collaboration and shared expertise, not centralisation or operational efficiency.
Which reflects something that we talked about in the last episode. The quality of an ownership or group transition often shows up not just in the announcement, but how the school community experiences it over time. And in this case, the public messaging suggests a carefully managed integration.
The Sedbergh Schools Group is a charitable group, so no private equity involvement and no external investors seeking a financial return. At its core is Sedbergh School itself, founded in 1525, one of UK's oldest and most distinguished full boarding schools. The group is centred around Sedbergh School and Sedbergh Prep at Casterton, with Terrington Hall becoming its second UK prep school, alongside international partnerships in Vietnam and China.
It is a relatively small group by the standards of what the other groups we'll cover today. But scale is not always the point. The Sedbergh model appears to be about creating resilience, shared resource and opportunity for schools that want to remain distinctively themselves.
And for Terrington Hall, which has recently been recognised by Tatler and has reported strong enrolment, this is not a school joining a group from a position of weakness. It's a school choosing partnership from a position of strength.
The best affiliations in this sector tend to happen when both parties have something genuine to offer, not absorption, but alignment.
And we're going to fly over to Asia next, where we're going to Malaysia, where Mont'Kiara International School in Kuala Lumpur has joined Nord Anglia Education, becoming the group's 90th school globally and its 15th in Southeast Asia. Mont'Kiara is a well-established institution founded in 1994. It is one of Malaysia's most respected IB World schools, offering the full IB continuum from PYP through to the IB-DP.
The story behind the partnership is also interesting. The owner has led the school for more than 25 years and chose Nord Anglia as he moves towards retirement, specifically to ensure the school's values and legacy are preserved in the long term. So this is a founder succession story as much as an acquisition story.
And that is a dynamic we are seeing more of. A founder or long-standing leader who has built something excellent, but then needs to think carefully about what comes next. Do they remain standalone? Do they transfer ownership? Do they join a group? Well, in this case, Mont'Kiara has chosen the group pathway.
For Nord Anglia, this adds to their presence in the capital, where they already have the British International School of Kuala Lumpur as part of the group. Families in the city now have both IB and British pathways available within the same group.
And in terms of where Nord Anglia sits today, the group has now 90 schools across 37 different countries, educating more than 100,000 students from the ages 3 to 18.
And the resources that come with this scale are tangible. Mont'Kiara students will now have access to Nord Anglia's collaborations with MIT, the Juilliard School, UNICEF, and MIG Academy, as well as its global campus platform connecting students across all 90 schools.
So the key question, as always, is how scale is used. If it strengthens teaching, learning, student opportunity, and leadership development, then it can be powerful. But families will also be watching closely to see how the character of Mont'Kiara is preserved as it becomes part of a global network. And that's something that North Anglia has prided itself on with previous additions to their family. The likes of St Andrews in Bangkok and H Farm in Italy demonstrate how the group aims to maintain the identity and culture of schools that join their family while adding value through the shared resource of the group to elevate the academics and value proposition to families.
Our third story this week takes us to Uruguay, where Woodside School in Punta del Este has joined International School Partnership, marking ISP's first school in the country.
Yeah, Woodside was founded in 1998 and is one of the most established international schools in the region. It serves nearly 1,000 students from early years through to pre-university, combining the Uruguayan national program with Cambridge and the IB diploma.
What's interesting here is that the founders will continue to play a role in the school's leadership as it joins ISP. So it's not simply a change of ownership, it is being presented as a partnership that preserves local continuity while adding access to a wider global learning system.
Yeah, for ISP, this adds further depth to what is already a significant presence across Latin America. The group has been expanding steadily across the continent. The schools in countries like Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Peru, and now Uruguay.
The scale of ISP today is worth noting. It's one of the largest international school groups in the world, with 117 schools operating across more than 26 countries, with over 117,000 students. ISP was founded in 2013 and is backed by Partners Group, a Swiss private equity firm.
And what ISP has built is genuinely diverse geographic portfolio. Schools in North America, Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, each retaining local identity and curriculum while being part of a wider global learning community.
The Woodside Partnership continues that pattern. The school's bilingual model, local reputation, and strong community culture are the kind of strengths ISP says it aims to build on rather than replace.
Yeah, and this brings us back to the bigger point from last week. Private equity ownership does not automatically tell you whether a school will improve or decline. The real question is whether the group structure supports long-term reinvestment, protects school identity, and strengthens the educational experience for students.
Our fourth story marks a genuine first. McLaughlin College in Oakville, Ontario, has joined Duke's Education, becoming the group's first school partner in Canada.
Yeah, McLaughlin is a co-educational K-12 independent school founded in 1978, serving more than 400 students across 2 campuses in Oakville. It is known for small class sizes, a globally focused curriculum, and a personalised approach to learning. And the school offers the IB-PYP, MYP, actually it's in candidate phase for the MYP at the moment, and then it offers the advanced placement at the upper grades.
Duke's represents a significant step in a geographic expansion that has been moving steadily beyond the UK into Europe and now North America. The group was founded in 2015, has grown quickly. Today, Duke's has 63 education brands and over 80 settings supporting more than 24,000 students and around 5,000 staff, with Canada now extending that footprint into its 12th country.
Yeah, what is distinctive about Duke's is how broadly it defines its offer. So alongside schools, it operates summer courses, university application consultancies, career experience programs, and one-to-one student support services. So in many ways, it's not purely a school group. It's closer to a broader education platform.
And the McLaughlin Partnership reflects something the school's founder, Audrey Hadfield, has articulated clearly. The next chapter is about creating new opportunities for students, staff, and families while preserving the personalised learning environment and culture that makes McLaughlin special.
Yeah, preservation of character alongside expansion of opportunity. That is the framing most school leaders use when making this kind of move.
Whether the reality matches that framing over time is always the test. But for a school of around 400 students in a close-knit community, access to a global network of peers, educators, and programs could be a meaningful addition.
And for Duke's, it's another step to becoming a more international organisation, not just adding schools, but extending a wider ecosystem of education services across new markets.
Our final story this week takes us to Spain, where Globeducate has announced the acquisition of Colegio Monasterio in Santiago del Compostela, one of the most academically distinguished schools in the country.
Yeah, Colegio Pelletiero is not a school that needed saving. Founded in 1951, it has been ranked first nationally by El Mundo 4 times in the last decade and has never placed outside the top 4. And in recent surveys, its scores reached 97 out of 100. It educates around 1,300 students in a modern, environmentally sustainable campus with boarding facilities, a dedicated kindergarten complex, a swimming pool, and specialist laboratories.
So the question with a school of this calibre is always, why join a group at all? The school's own director answered it directly. He described Globe Educate as having first-rate educational centres in Spain and abroad, and as having a genuine respect for the values and principles of the school's educational project. Alignment was the reason, not rescue.
Yeah, for Globe Educate, this is a significant addition. Colegio Pelletiero is exactly the kind of school that strengthens a group's reputation for quality rather than simply adding numbers. And Spain is Globe Educate's home market. The group originated there and already has 4 British international schools and 9 international Spanish curriculum schools in the country.
In terms of where Globe Educate stands today, it is a network of more than 65 bilingual and international schools and online programs serving more than 40,000 students across 11 countries. The group is backed by Providence Equity Partners and Wendell Group, both of which have long-term commitments to the education sector.
Yeah, the Pelletiero acquisition continues a pattern of Globe Educate adding schools with strong existing identities and national reputations, rather than simply building out through greenfield development or lower profile acquisitions.
It is a portfolio strategy built on quality as a differentiator, and that is important. Because as schools groups grow, their reputation is not only shaped by how many schools they have, it is shaped by the quality of the schools they choose to bring in. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode.
5 schools, 5 groups, 5 very different stories about how the international independent school sector is organising itself.
Charitable group in the north of England, growing carefully and without external investors. One of the world's most heavily capitalised international school networks, adding its 90th school. A private equity-backed platform entering Uruguay. A UK-originated education group making its first move into Canada. And one of Spain's most decorated schools choosing to join a group from a position of real strength.
And what these stories have in common is that none of them look like, well, exactly the same transaction. There's no single model for how schools grow and sustain themselves. The interesting question is always whether the structure, whatever it is, genuinely serves the students at the centre of it.
Because growth in itself is not the measure of success. The real measure is whether the school becomes stronger, more resilient, and more capable of delivering on its educational promise.
So, if there's a development in your region that we should be covering, please do get in touch.
We'll be back next week with another global update.
Till then, see you next time.